What's up, Bears fans? RP here of the Bears Essentials. I am back again, and it is good to see all of you guys here. It looks as if we have a couple people still coming on, and we're waiting for Dr. Uzing Matismo to join me. But I am actually letting you guys know that this is our second podcast ever. So if you have not, seen the Bears Essentials, you should check that out on Da Bears Essentials on Facebook, as well as Da Bears Essentials on Instagram. And of course, you're watching us tonight on Da Bears Essentials YouTube, which is where you can get a lot of really good, basically all the Bears news that you need. So if you guys are curious about what's really going on with some of the stuff that has to do with not only football, but the stuff you don't always hear about, the stuff you don't always see. So kind of things like that, and really the Bears Essentials is trying to give you guys something that is substance as far as something that is related to the thing that you love most and the thing that is keeping all of us busy during this COVID time. So okay, I'm going to keep it going here on my own for a second before I get these other fellas in here. So I'm going to start off with that Bucks win. And before I do that, hold on just a second. I'll get my friend in here. And then I'll get my other friend in here. Okay. And breaking it down, sorry for that delay, you guys. 19-20, the Bears, after a miraculous victory to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 20-19, have a long week off because of the Thursday night game. And that was a fantastic victory. I can't, how can you express in words what it was like to watch that football game? It was up and down. Cairo Santos was a hero. He hit two huge field goals from long distance. I think both were over 40 yards apiece. And really kind of the defense kept coming up big, especially at the end of the football game, which is when you want your defense to play the best, is at that time. And so they did step up. Unfortunately, the defense we did let up a 100-yard rusher, and we'll talk about that as well. And there were some other issues going wrong with the defense as well that we'll patch together with Doctor once he comes through. So after the Bears had a really disappointing loss to the Indianapolis Colts, a lot of us were really down on this team and feeling like this team was kind of, going through the motions. They really didn't seem like a 3-1 team going into the fourth week of the season. And then really this game, the Bears come out and really seem like they almost needed that the bright lights of prime time to get going, at least defensively, and it showed. I think Khalil Mack was probably one of those guys who likes at least to know that a lot of people are watching him. But there's a lot of players who enjoy that as well and really flourish on that kind of spotlight. So the Bears do end up beating the Bucks, and I'll go through some of the stats for you. Let's see. Foles himself was 30 for 42, 243 yards, 1 touchdown and 1 interception. David Montgomery had about 29 yards and 2.9 a carry, which is not that good at all. And then in the end, Dallin Robertson had another big day with 10 receptions for 90 yards, about 9 yards a catch. So not a bad day for him, but really a time where the offense struggled quite a bit. And early, Nick Foles did not seem very settled with timing of the offense, what he was doing with the offensive system, the tempo of the offense, which we will touch on later, and other parts that, and other, small things and small, reads that usually you'd see Nick Foles make in bigger situations. But it was kind of disappointing to see his performance in the first three quarters. He did perform much better as the game progressed, and I thought that he started to play better as the third quarter started to end. It was coming to the end, and really in the fourth, he came out and made the big throws when he had to. He was, trying to explain, I think, to Nagy that he wanted to have. That he wanted to be more up tempo, which is something again we'll touch on later. But let's see. I think I can get the doctor in here now, and there he is. I got you, man. Sorry, I had to start over. It was a total fail.
No problem, man. Good to see you.
It's totally good to see you, man. You are just looking tight, man.
Well, thank you.
Fresh.
Thank you.
Yeah, well,
I cleaned it up a little bit from last week,
Yeah, well, you look good, man.
Thank you, RP. So do you. Very handsome.
Thanks. Hey, thanks. What I was getting into talking to these folks about was the Bears and the Bucs. I'm still kind of starting off on the offense here. Yeah. And I was talking about after, a really disappointing loss to the Colts, we come back and beat the Bucs by 1 point, unbelievable game. But the offense early was pretty ratchet. Was not very good. And, you kind of got here just in time because we are going to go right into positions. So we'll start with that quarterback position. I was saying I had Nick Foles, once he got into those last couple quarters, he started playing well, made big plays, was trying to talk to Nagy about speeding up the tempo.
Yeah.
But then made those big plays. He was getting hit as well, so getting rocked around. And taking the hits, but making the throws. And is this something that we should expect to see from Nick Foles from here on out? Like that? Is that who he is? He is not a starter.
Well, I think you have to look at it in context, right? I mean, he's our starter, all right, because right. I mean, obviously he's performing the best. He's performing. He's our top quarterback at this point in time. Now, a couple of things I'll say about Nick Foles. He did miss that pass to Mooney, that big play opportunity to Mooney. Just completely misfired on that. But I want to give Nagy a little bit of credit because it seemed to me like some of the biggest plays produced by the offense were pass plays to the running backs. And if you remember the pass play to Montgomery on the sideline on the wheel route, and then also Cordero Patterson had a manufactured. They isolated him on a linebacker and had him run a wheel route for crucial plays. And so, right. I think that what you're seeing is Nagy not just having a quarterback, drop back into the pocket and make the reads, but he actually is manufacturing, identifying mismatches and creating plays that a quarterback like Nick Foles can convert on.
Yeah. I want to touch on that further where, it seems sometimes to me or that Nick Foles benefits from an up tempo. That's why he likes to, he's very good in the 2-minute drill. Would you say it would be beneficial to give him the reins in a way as far as when he wants to be able to do something like that? Or do you think that's out of the question with Nagy in general?
Well, I think one of my favorite parts of the game was when they were showing Nick Foles actually, trying to communicate to Nagy, like,
exactly,
get this through your skull, like this is something that we could have done. And this is something that we could have benefited our offense.
Good Nagy over here.
Get this through your skull. I mean, he was being adamant at that point and really demonstrating his passion and conviction at that point. I think that's a little bit of probably what Nick Foles is bringing to the team, probably more so than Trubisky, is that sense of like
urgency,
the sense of urgency, and also like, look, I see what's going on. This isn't just about X's and O's. This is about timing. This is about momentum. This is about emotion.
Right.
And, he is a Super Bowl winning quarterback.
Yeah,
and
he's
MVP.
done it. He's been there, right? So
Right.
it's like, okay.
And so I would say that he's bringing that to the team. We're seeing that. And I think that Nagy would be foolish not to follow his lead, especially when he's like really pushing for that. So he's more successful and has more success as an NFL player than Nagy has had as a coach.
Right.
And I think Nagy should really kind of ride that as much as possible.
I agree. I think you kind of gotta, when you can also be taught.
Exactly.
Nagy's got to realize he's still a relatively younger coach too. So we were talking about the offensive line earlier, and
Yep.
it was, again, second week in a row they were pretty disappointing early, and then a huge injury to Daniels, who's out for the season with a pectoral tear.
Right. Mm.
Which is not going to make them better, I'd imagine, and it's Alex Bars who is filling in for him. Is that who it is? From this kid's from Notre Dame, had like a leg problem.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what it was?
Well, a leg problem?
Well, I think he had a hurt knee when he first came out, and he had to sit for a season. Is that what?
Yeah, well, I think the problem is, it's like, well, who is Alex Bars and what is his issue? Like, we don't know that much about this player. I don't think that really he's received that much playing time so far in his career up to this point. He has a good pedigree, I suppose. He's played on some strong offensive lines in college, but I mean, he's a really an unknown commodity to our team. And you know what? The first play that he was in, he gave up a sack, a big hit on the quarterback. And so I think that, he's definitely going to be a big question mark for our team. And Daniels, as a second round pick, I think that he's improving. He's a very young player, but losing him right now is a big blow. Is a big blow to the offensive line. So, look, I'm all for Bars. I'm all for young linemen coming in and getting an opportunity to show what they have on the NFL level. He definitely has size, and like I said, he's played with some good players on some good lines. So
definitely,
we'll see. But again, a lot of this comes back to Nagy. And this will probably be a recurring theme throughout the season. Nagy, is he gonna feel the vibe of the players? Is he gonna get into the emotional aspect of the game and really do what his players need in order to succeed, or is he going to start getting caught up in
which kind of leads me to my next issue, question to you, which would be about the tight ends. It seems as if that whole philosophy doesn't really incorporate tight ends until the red zone.
Right.
That's when we throw to them and even that seems interesting to me because, well, I just, we don't seem like we're using much of them in the passing game between, both 20s,
Yeah. And, it's kind of like, where's Komet? Komet gets up, he's got his helmet on. He's like, Coach, I'm ready to go. You called me. And he's like, yeah, get on the bench. Get on the bench. I just wanted to make sure that you were on the bench where I wanted you. I mean, he's getting some playing time.
When he's blocking, he's blocking.
Exactly. And, I wonder why, because, when you see him on the field, he looks athletic. He looks big. He looks like he's well put together. He's a second round pick. And I think that, especially, when you think about the pedigree that Nagy has, with the Chiefs and with the Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, you went out and you got a tight end in the second round. You thought bringing him in that he'd be using the tight ends.
A plethora of tight ends.
Yeah, you thought that he'd be using the tight ends, and given some of the struggles that we have, generating offense and sustaining drives, you would think that there would be a role for our talented tight ends. And it's kind of interesting, when you brought up Graham. I mean, he's caught a couple touchdowns at least this year, lined up wide, not as
a tight end.
And they threw a slant route to a tight end who was lined up wide. It wasn't Kmet, So I just wonder what's going on with Cole Kmet and what's going on with Nagy, really with his
philosophy
and with his game plan. Why he's struggling to get them involved.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's going to be the question going forward. We'll see a lot more of what the character is, not only of this team and offense, but Nagy and how he's willing to adapt and potentially work with players instead of against players and potentially put together an offense that is good for 4 quarters.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is the end, we're really, really looking for. Now, if anybody's watching out there, feel free to drop some comments, and we are all about taking questions and taking any kind of, any kind of constructive criticism. I'm all about that too. Like, hey, you guys are really terrible. We just let us know what we can do better. Okay, let us know what we can do better. But it looks like we actually have a calling guest tonight, which this guy apparently is from South Joliet, and he's a huge Bears fan. His name is Stanislaw Ditkaski. So let's see if we can get him on the horn here.
Sounds like a good guest.
Oh,
hey there, guys.
Stanislaw, you can hear us. Great.
Hey, RP, Dr. Matismo, a longtime fan of the show, and I'm glad you guys finally got me on here. It's my honor,
Oh, good to see you, Stanislaw.
It's great to see you, man.
Yeah, I'm just sitting here. I was watching the makeup game. I'm sitting in my front room, and I got a pop here and just having some dinner,
Yeah, well, it's really good to see you, man. And it seems like you've been pretty up lately since the Bears have been winning. Things have been going pretty good over there.
Yeah, we've been doing pretty well. I got to tell you, a lot of games were close, but we hung in there and we kept fighting and scratching and clawing, and we got those victories, and that's what's really important.
Oh, definitely. So, who would be your favorite Bear if you had one, man?
Well, I wanted to bring that up with a question for Dr. Matismo. It's this. I was thinking about favorite Bears in the past.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you remember a linebacker, John Roper, number 55 for the Bears.
That's right.
Yeah.
Good backer.
Well, he kind of distinctly stands out to me for missing some tackles here and there, even though he was a favorite player of mine.
Uh-huh.
And so I'm kind of seeing a comparison here to one Roquan Smith. In the previous Bears game, and just some missed tackles here and there. How do we solidify that, Matismo? How do we get this guy in there to start hitting like he's a Singletary or
wrapping up,
right? Wrapping up, the sack man,
That's a great question. And by the way, shout out to John Roper, number 55.
John Roper.
I believe John Roper was a 2nd-round pick out of Texas A&M for the Chicago Bears.
And John should just call up now and check out the show just for Matismo knowing that.
I wasn't
We'd
sure
love to hear from you, John.
I wasn't sure, guys, if I had the name right, because I was thinking that might be the guy from Tree's Company, the Roper guy. I think he was the landlord or something. Yeah.
No. This is John Roper, and notorious tackler for the Chicago Bears. But you know what? It's a great question. And, I think definitely considering all of the effort, all the expectations that we have for a guy like Roquan Smith, it is unfortunate that he really wasn't able to bring the running backs down and really contributed a lot to probably the most disappointing aspect of our defense, which is tackling up to this point, And so what can you say? The guy's got to hit. He's got to wrap up. And you know what? And I'd just like to say some of the biggest plays that the Bucs had were resulted from a missed tackle by Roquan Smith. Granted, he improved as the game progressed, but it's if I would say it's pretty much unacceptable at this point in time. And we have much higher expectations for Roquan, so we want to see him do better.
Okay.
Yeah.
Speaking of expectations, can I ask one offensive question as well to you?
Hey, go for it.
You guys got a minute?
Yeah, I got a question for you, and this is all over too, buddy.
Okay. Well, my question on offense, real quick, guys. I don't want to take up all your time here, but so
it's a twilight hour, baby. Let it rip.
0 TDs, okay, rushing going into this past game against Brady and the Bucs.
Zero.
Okay,
Zero.
That really stood out to me because you know how many other teams in the NFL had 0 rushing touchdowns. You guys are the experts. You tell me.
I'm gonna say none.
Exactly, another fat 0 there. Okay, 0 for us and none for everybody else. Doesn't have 0. Okay, that was the problem.
Oh, so, I see.
Okay, so we get in the end zone, we get 1 rushing touchdown.
Yes, sir.
Hallelujah, that doesn't solve our problem. Okay?
No, that does not.
How do we, besides getting some different backs in the system here, say for example, we need to keep the backs we have. How do we work the offense to get these backs going and get more rushing touchdowns? How do we do it?
Sounds like you getting indigestion there from this question, man. Easy does it, man.
No, I'm fine.
That's a good question. That's all you, Matismo.
Well, this question is sponsored by Pepto-Bismol.
And a nice Coke to wash that down.
Yeah. So the fact is, all right, the big issue here again, we have to look at the coaching staff, all right? Nagy was able to produce some nice pass plays by manufacturing matchups, isolating running backs, and using the wheel route, okay? He has the capacity to use the running backs in more effective ways. He needs balance. That basically is what it comes down to. We need a more balanced offense. You know, I'm looking at the statistics here. Overall, the Bears had 14 total rushing attempts for 35 yards all game.
Yeah, the whole game.
And so,
brutal, I tell you, brutal.
That, like I said, it's a 2.9 average for Montgomery, which is, normal for him. Which is normal for him.
But the thing is, we've seen his character, we've seen his drive, we've seen his determination, his skill set. It's not that he's averaging 2.9 because he's not talented.
No,
we just are not really being effective, I think, strategically, tactically, in terms of
laterally, he's averaging like 10 yards a carry. And backwards, forget it.
If you add up the negative yardage, he's actually positive. No, but so we need to look at.
I have a question that is attached to that question, and it's about Cordell Patterson.
Yeah.
Though he's a hard runner, is he a running back? And does he as a running back limit your what you can call as a game as a play caller for run plays? Since he's so straight ahead, he's not going to. It's either with Nagy. It seems like he's either hitting him straight ahead with Cordell Patterson, or he's trying to get him around the edge. And I don't know. It just seems like they might benefit from another back at this point.
I completely agree, and I'm not. I mean, I support Cordell Patterson. I think the guy's got a lot of talent. He's got a lot of size. But the fact is, he isn't a traditional running back. He doesn't really have a lot of experience as a running back. I think that when you use him in the backfield and then put him out in pass routes, in isolation and matchups against man coverage and linebackers, I think he could be a really good weapon. But the fact is that he's not asking to be, put into the game and run the ball up the middle on 3rd and 1. That's not not Cordero saying, I'll do that. That's the coach putting him in positions. And so, it's a kind of an example of some of the limitations that and kind of like short-sightedness, if so to say, with Nagy. He's so deep into his mind that it's hard for him to really see, is he really putting his players in the best possible position, or is he just trying to do something that he just thought about one day when he was dreaming about running plays
right,
and doing things that he thinks are unexpected by putting players in position to do things that they don't do very well. It's like,
right. That's why I guess that's why I'm asking. What do you think? Does that answer your question, Stan?
Yeah,
Can I call you Stan?
You can call me Stan. Yeah, my wife Lois here calls me Stan all the time. She's making some brats right now. But anyway, yeah, that's pretty good insight there, Matismo. I guess we just keep plugging away, and maybe Nagy will start having some better dreams. I mostly dream about Polish sausage. But
all right, I got a question for you, Stanislaw.
Oh, go ahead. Shoot.
Big Stan.
Who
do you like? Shoot. Who do you take? Butkus, Urlacher.
Oh, Butkus and Urlacher, man. That's like, comparing two greats. That's like saying you're going to take Rocky Marciano or Ali, How do you expect a guy like me to pick? I think I take both.
Whoa.
Is there some kind of a supplemental draft where maybe one gets released and then I can acquire the other? Or
that's fine. That can happen. There's
really no other way to answer that question there, Ron.
Yeah, that's fair. And you know what? I'm going to leave it at that because that's just you're as passionate and strong a Bear fan as I've met, Stanislaw. And I just want to thank you for coming on Bears Essentials and hanging out with us tonight.
I love being on the show. I listen every week, and you guys keep going at it just like the Bears every week. Keep getting stronger, and who knows? Maybe it's a playoff year. Right now, it's looking like it for us. So, we'll see what happens.
We will see what happens, and we'll have you back on ASAP if that's okay.
All right, guys. Take care, okay?
All right, buddy.
All right, we'll see you guys later. Okay, bye.
All right. You take care.
He says, take care. Wow, that was great, man. That was really good stuff. It was good to see Stan and Lois happy and enjoying this 4-1 record right now. So I mean, that's where we're at. The Bears are sitting there in second place in the North. And now everyone's kind of talking about how they are a team to beat or a competitor, when a week before it was a complete different whole different theme. The Bears were a 3-1 football team that no one believed in, so they're getting a little more credit now. And I think that's because there's more people who believe that Nick Foles is able to carry the load of the team if he stays healthy. But what's going to truly make this team great is the defense. The defense in this game was amazing. And they were basically, though there were missed tackles early, when they really needed to, and more specifically Khalil Mack, a guy who plays 95% of the snaps, which people don't realize, he's getting triple teamed, double teamed, and on the field the whole time. That the impact he's able to make at the end of a football game like that, to me, is like, it's just like, But anyways, in this game, we saw the defensive line completely fluster Brady. Brady had no idea what to do. He was at some point so flustered he was throwing his tablet on the sidelines and yelling at his teammates and not knowing what down it was. Now, we talked about Roquan a little bit. Let's talk about Khalil Mack and his performance in this game. I mean, when it comes down to it, he seemed to be the deciding factor, no?
Well, as an individual player from down to down, consistently as this game progressed, Khalil Mack, he played a tremendous game. He was all over the quarterback in the backfield, getting hits. And I think you're right. I think that overall his presence was intimidating to the offensive line, the tackle, and to Brady. And he really led the charge and really got in that backfield. And that's really what we need from Khalil Mack on a consistent basis. just dominating, pressuring the quarterback, hitting the quarterback, and you can see how that one aspect of a defensive football impacts an offensive team. You know, it
True.
really
And
throws them off.
For sure. And you also see the impact that, you know, if he's getting to the quarterback a lot of the times, that means someone else is also creating pressure. So other guys are starting to do their job a little bit more consistently, I think, on the front seven of the Chicago Bears.
Right.
And that is making it easier for Khalil Mack to get to the quarterback.
For sure.
It seems like Hicks is getting better every game. It seems like there's more. I think Robert Quinn is going to progress as well. I think he's still getting literally up to speed.
Right. But even Robertson Harris got a few pressures in there.
He's getting better, which is exactly what they hope, because he was such a young project, you know.
Right. And I'd also like to give a quick shout out. I mean, you know, just Khalil Mack is technically an outside linebacker for our scheme, but Danny Trevathan, in my opinion, had his best game of the season. You know, and it wasn't, you know, like Danny Trevathan from two years ago, but I mean, he performed well. He was, you know, making some hits. He was taking on some blockers, and you know, you can feel his presence on occasion. So I appreciate the way that he played in this game.
I did too. I think, well, the last two games he's turned it up. He's like, you know, player's player. I don't know if that makes sense. The guy that you love as a teammate, but you know, can be flawed, you know, like everyone else.
Right.
You know, I think that also there's probably a lot of stuff that he doesn't talk about as far as injuries too, that he goes through. But then even being in this league, it's, you know, and expecting to cover some of these tight ends / receivers now is, you know, that's why the linebacker is becoming extinct, you know?
Yeah. Why it's a lot harder for him. But again, he stepped up and he was, you know, doing something that we haven't seen that much this year. And again, we did have some missed tackles, too many as far as I'm concerned, but you saw him stepping up, taking on blockers, and really making an impact, and not just like tackles, you know, but just like he was hitting people with force throughout the course of the game. And I think that really kind of contributed to the tone that Khalil Mack was setting throughout the game.
Right. Yeah, no, and it was like the highlight of that game was the body slam by Khalil Mack. That was my one highlight of the game.
The hip toss?
The hip toss body slam, judo slam.
I have to interject here, RP, and because I really don't want to forget Kyle Fuller.
I was just about to get there. It's a great segue. It's a great segue. No, just flipping over to those defensive backs.
Yeah.
The biggest play of the game. I would say that the player that had the biggest impact was Khalil Mack, and then I would say that the player that had the biggest play was Kyle Fuller.
Yeah,
and it wasn't just that one play, but it was, you know, it's been all year, man. This guy has just figured it out.
Yeah.
You know, so for all those listeners and watchers, viewers, I said watchers. For all those viewers out there who know us at that Bears Essentials and enjoy our show, we bring to you the Barely Legal Play of the Week.
In this week's Barely Legal Play, Vaughn, while attempting to hold on to his balls, runs into a bad episode of Fuller House.
Kyle Fuller, okay? Go.
No, what a great play, you know, and nice little segment there. I like that, the Barely Legal Play. No, first of all, it wasn't just a great play for Kyle Fuller and a play that actually sparked a much needed touchdown for the Bears at the end of the first half. But if you really look at that play, you'll see that that's an absolute textbook defense play by a defensive back. Perfectly
Shoulder,
timing a hit,
everything. Perfect
making
hit.
a perfectly legal hit at the exact right time, forcing the fumble. And it's so interesting how the NFL is a game of inches, right? But just how everything that he did was timed up perfectly, because if it was a split second off, maybe it's a game of milliseconds as well, because if it was a split second off, that would have been a 15-yard illegal hit. If his head was just a half a centimeter to the right, so it was just such a perfect play.
Yeah, and the timing was huge, because then the Bears scored points from that hit.
Definitely.
So that was a huge turnaround for them, and really kind of swayed the energy as well. I think in the football game at that point.
Yeah, so Kyle Fuller, in my opinion, again, I think you're making a good distinction between the Khalil Mack, who's like just such a dominant player, but Kyle Fuller to me has been the most consistent Chicago Bear, playing at a consistently high level, definitely this year, but probably for the last couple of years. I mean, he's just such a solid player, and we're so lucky to have him on our team.
So lucky. And again, hashtag sign A-Rob. I think A-Rob is one of those people it'd be cool to call a Bear for another couple of years.
Oh yeah.
Moving forward to Carolina, let's talk about, going up against that team, because the Bears weren't great against the run again. And in Carolina, they can kind of run or pass. Teddy Bridgewater is competitive for sure. And I don't think that McCaffrey's back yet, right?
No.
He's got some time.
Right. He might be back. We're not exactly sure with his injury where he's at right now. It's possible that he'll be back.
So the Bears are going for this 5-1 record, really, and trying to keep pace with the Packers in the North. And I think they're trying to still distinguish themselves, but are they getting closer to that identity? And would you kind of say that they're becoming a real team to beat?
Absolutely. I think that they're not overwhelming at any position on offense and defense, but I think that the identity, I think that you really hit the nail on the head here. It's kind of like they know who they are as players. It seems like the coach knows who they are as a team, and is really working to implement a system that takes advantage of their skills. So while they're not like overwhelmingly talented from an NFL perspective, we're really seeing them being able to maximize their talent, maximize their skills in the running game, in the passing game. I really like their Bridgewater is definitely kind of more of a ball control passing quarterback. He likes to throw relatively short intermediate, but he's got some explosive receivers, and they have a good balance on offense and defense. And so and
he can run.
Absolutely. And I definitely think they're going to be a challenge for the Bears, especially, I understand the home field advantage isn't so much of a issue or aspect, but the Bears still have to travel, even if the fans aren't going to be there, and really they still need to travel.
It's still a process, and you're still going through all the COVID stuff and COVID security and everything that has to do with that. So that gets, I'm sure, is exhausting for a lot of these guys down the road. Well, I think that kind of wraps it up for me as far as what I have for you tonight, my friend.
Right.
I want to know, before we get out of here, though, what you think the outcome of this game could be. Could the Bears pull it out?
I think what I'm going to say is that I'm going to go for the Bears to win this game, to continue on with their momentum. And Nice. They have a long way to go in terms of developing that identity, but I think that big play by Kyle Fuller really has a chance to spark their team, I think, in a very important way by really helping them. Because if you think back, the Khalil Mack dropped interception, the Roquan Smith, negated interception, the Eddie Jackson, interception for a touchdown that was called back. Those are big plays that I feel like really kind of demoralized their team a little bit and really hurt that defensive-oriented identity. But that Kyle Fuller play, I think we're going to look at that and say, hey, that's when the Bears decided, hey, we're gonna ride our defense, and our defense is really going to step up and be that identity, be the leader for our team. So having said that, I'm going for the Bears. I think it's going to be a tough game. I think the offense is still going to struggle. But I think at the end, when it's all said and then done, we're going to see a game where it's 20-17, and it's going to be a Bears victory.
Okay, real quick. Le'Veon Bell just got released by the Jets. Do the Bears think about
how much do they have to pay him? That's my question.
Well, that's exactly why. Oh, I have a question. I have a comment here from. It looks like Erica Perkowski, and I love it when you guys chat in. And her question is, can we discuss tight ends? That position hasn't been the same since Greg Olsen. So the Bears are really good at collecting tight ends.
Yeah, they sure are.
But not really great tight ends. Very happy with what we have gotten this year from Jimmy Graham. But where is Cole Kmet?
Yeah, where are they? I mean, the thing is about a tight end is that they block, they catch passes. They are the perfect weapon in a balanced offense because they can really take advantage of linebackers.
Exactly. Right.
Because linebackers come up to play the run, or they drop back to defend the pass.
Which would be my argument is why our run struggles is because we don't pass to our tight ends.
Exactly, and I think that we're supposed.
But we will use them to block. Yeah,
we will use them to block, but we're not incorporating them in the passing game, and I think that is really making the game more one-dimensional for linebackers. And I think that's one of the things that's really hurting our ability to consistently run the ball. And it's really hurting us because we're not utilizing them in the passing attack. And that's hurting our passing productivity as well.
Well, I would totally agree. And Erica, I was a big fan of Greg Olsen. I'm not sure why that happened with that, trade originally. But the Bears have always, in the last, almost it's really since Pace got here. It's like Pace does not know anything about tight ends and quarterbacks, apparently. Sorry, I said it. But the Bears have a lot of them, and it's like if you're going to have them, you can't just use and he uses them in the red zone. But I think to make that running game more efficient, you have to start trying to incorporate your tight ends into the offense earlier in the drive. They tried to late in that game, and Foles was almost picked off, if you remember. Mm-hmm. It was a throw to Jimmy Graham, and Jimmy Graham kind of short-armed it because he was covered. And it's like that's when was the first time I remember saying there's a pass to a tight end that's between the 20s, but now we're doing it out of desperation. We're not doing it with a run game. They know we have to pass. So it's it's something as simple as that. I think that kind of shed some light on me on my kind of vision of what they're trying to do, or at least what they're not doing with the tight ends. So hopefully we see that on Sunday, a little more tight end action. I'd like to get Kmet a couple pass plays.
Yeah. Huh? Oh my gosh. I mean, wouldn't it be nice to just see him catch the ball and maybe like
truck somebody?
Yeah, have a chance to run up the field and
Kelsey, you know what I mean? Like Kelsey. Yeah. Like someone like that.
Maybe, maybe we can see our tight end catch a pass, So I would love to see that. You know what? There's no time like the present. This is going to be a great weekend for football and another opportunity for the Bears to take a step in the right direction. You know, we believe in them and we support them. Go Bears, bear
Go
down.
Bears. Well, we will keep in touch with you guys on our Instagram page. You can check that out at Bears Essentials. I'm usually hanging out up there, giving you guys live in real-time feedback on what's going on with the Bears. You can also check out our weekly episodes on Facebook at Bears Essentials on Facebook, and you can get our whole slew and cast of characters, including myself and the Dr. Matismo here. You got Flo, you got Sporty Sam, Fancy Farmington, Mitchell Trubisky, Flip Knowles. I'm sure I'm forgetting a couple people in there, but a host of characters with a lot of good things to let you talk to you guys about when it comes to the Chicago Bears. So everyone who's a Bears fan, tune in this weekend to the game. We're going to try to have a 5-1 record. I think that's a big deal, if you're a Bears fan. So let's try to be safe. If you guys like our stuff, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel as well, which is what you're tuning into right now. I am RP. That is the Dr. Oozing Matismo. We are that Bears Essentials. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you guys next week at 9 p.m. or 9:15 p.m. Tuesday. Take care, you guys. Mask up.
Mask down.